solving a quadratic inequality. So let's see, we have x squared minus 2x minus 15. Let's go ahead and try to solve this. This one looks like we might be able to factor it out. So let's go ahead and try to factor it out. We need two numbers, in this case, that multiply to negative 15, and when added or subtracted together, gets us this negative 2. That's going to be a 5 and a positive 3, because negative 5 times 3 gives us negative 15. And then negative 5 plus 3 gets us this negative 2. Now, set these equal to 0. X will be equal to negative 3, and x will be equal to 5. So we're not quite done here. What we want to do is plug in some values to see what our actual interval is. So you can go ahead and make a table like this. We'll say these are our try values, and then our value, and then finally we'll have true or false. So some try values, we'll say negative infinity to 3. And then also negative 3 to 5. And then finally, we will have a 5 to infinity. Values, we can pick any value within these specific intervals. So just make sure the values that you pick are within those intervals. So we can pick a negative 4, a 0, and then a positive 6. And essentially what we're doing is taking these values, plugging them back into the original equation to see if it actually makes sense or not, to see if that's a value we want to include in our solution. So let's go ahead and plug this back in. Negative 4, just plug it back into your original equation. Negative 4 squared minus 2 times negative 4 minus 15. And see if that's less than or equal to 0. That will give us, in this case, let's see, a 9 is less than or equal to 0, which does not make any sense. So that negative infinity to negative 3 is not going to be a solution that we want to include in our notation here. Let's go ahead and try 0. 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus negative 15. And let's see if that's less than or equal to 0. So that will actually give us a negative 15 is less than or equal to 0, which makes sense, right? Negative 15 is less than or equal to 0. So this could be a potential solution. Just double check your last one and see. 6 squared minus 2 times 6 minus 15, is that less than or equal to 0? Well, that gets us a 9 again, and that's not less than or equal to 0. So we have negative 3 to 5, and one other thing you need to do, check to see what your inequality sign was. So ours is less than or equal to, so we want to use our square braces. And that should be our solution for that question. Now we'll look at 3x squared minus 11x minus 4 greater than 0. So again, we can go ahead and factor this one out. So 3x and 3x, you can factor it out a different way if you'd like, but in this case I'm going to multiply the 3 times the negative 4 to get us negative 12. So we want two numbers that multiply to negative 12, and when added or subtracted gets us the negative 7 or negative 11. So we'll have our numbers of negative 12 and positive 1, because that'll get us the negative 12, and then the negative 11. Go ahead and reduce it. And now we can go ahead and set these equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0, and 3x plus 1 is equal to 0. So we'll be left with x equals 4, or x is equal to a negative 1/3. Last thing to do, go ahead and test your intervals and see which ones make sense to include in your solutions. Okay, so again, we'll go negative infinity to negative 1/3. And the reason I did negative 1/3 first is because that's smaller than our 4. So then we'll go negative 1/3 to 4. And then finally our 4 to infinity, and just pick some sort of value within that interval to test. So we'll just go negative 1, 0, and 5 and plug this back into our original equation to see if it's true or false. So we'll have a negative 1. Let's see, a 3 times negative 1 squared, and then minus 11x, or 11 times negative 1 minus 4, and we want to see if that's greater than 0. So this will give us a 10 if we reduce, which is indeed greater than 0. So go ahead and circle that one for later, and let's just test our other ones to see if they make any sense. So 3 times 0 squared minus 11 times 0 squared, or just 11 minus 4, and see if that's greater than 0. That'll get us a negative 4 greater than 0, which does not make any sense. So this one is not going to be included. And our last one is to test this 5 value. See if that is greater than 0. This will give us a 16 greater than 0, which does make sense, so we'll go ahead and include that one as well. So notice how we have a greater than here, so we'll go ahead and use our parentheses. So we have two things here. We have negative infinity and we have negative 1/3. And then we want to go ahead and do a union of 4 to infinity. And that'll give us the solution to that particular question.